When I first moved into my German apartment, I was shocked to find the washing machine in the kitchen. Not only that, but a wash cycle would take up to 3 hours and I had to air dry my clothes in the middle of my living room. Well, in this case, I was in a WG, so in the middle of my bedroom. In this video, we will talk about how to do laundry in Germany and all the little things you should probably pay attention to, so hopefully you're not as surprised as I was. The first question is, where is the washing machine in German apartments?
It depends. Haha. So if you live in an apartment building, typically your washing machine can be in two places. Either in your apartment, and then it typically is in the kitchen or the bathroom, depending on where the connection and the extra space for it is. It is very uncommon for apartments to have a specific laundry room. That is actually, I've never seen that.
Not a thing, yeah.
The second spot where your washing machine could be is in the basement of the entire apartment complex. And there typically it's a shared laundry room, meaning that everyone has their own machine, their own washing machine in its designated spot. So typically you walk into the room and you have, like, depending on how many parties live in the apartment, 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9 washing machines in it, and possibly also a dryer. Sometimes you can also air dry your clothes in that room, sometimes you don't. That depends on the house rules. Now, if you're living in a house, in your own house or a rented house, there typically you do have a laundry room, typically in the basement, where the connections are also for the washing machine and possibly a dryer, and usually enough space to also air dry your clothes.
Talking about dryers, the big question is, do Germans hate dryers? And the answer is, it depends. Look at Yvonne already, it's like tripping.
I'd say hate is a very strong word.
I just wanted to be here provocative. Anyway, so according to the research and according to Statista, which is the statistics page in Germany, 43% of households own a tumble dryer. That means that less than half of the households in all of Germany actually have a dryer. The first reason is that electricity prices are high. In Germany, electricity is one of the, if not the most expensive utility that you pay for, so it's kind of like a lot of money to have a dryer working there for you.
Yeah, especially dryers use up a lot of electricity, like way more than washing machines per se.
Yes, an additional reason number 2, is that there might simply not be space to put a dryer in an apartment. Generally speaking, in all of Europe, it's not just a German thing, but in all of Europe, space is very condensed, and especially apartments tend to be smaller than probably you might be used to, depending on where you come from. And because of that, there's barely space to fit a washing machine, let alone there's not going to be a space to put a dryer next to it or on top of it. And because there's no laundry room, that just makes it a lot more difficult. And the third reason is that Germans do hate dryers.
That is not true. But the third reason is, why would I use a machine for something that nature, hence the air, just does by itself for free? And plus, dryers are also not the best for the clothes.
Yeah, so another thing has to do with the mentality of Germans with dryers, where it's, like you say, why should you pay for something that you can do for free? I would say dryers make more sense in the case of a family scenario where, of course, there's more than 2 adults and a few children. There you need the turnaround of clothes to be a lot faster. At least in our experience, in our circle of friends, the friends that do have dryers are the ones that have more than 1 child, because there's a lot of, a lot of dirty clothes that they
Yeah, and also I grew up with a dryer. So my parents, my mom, she has a dryer. She uses it not for everything though. Like, there's also drying racks next to it because specific clothes don't go in the dryer, again, because it's not good for them, and others do. So it highly depends. But yeah, we were 2 kids. We had a dryer. Both my sister and I, we could have a dryer, but we choose not to have one.
Yes, so there you go. So if the majority of households don't have a tumble dryer in Germany, how do they dry their clothes?
I've mentioned it a few times now, actually, throughout the video. We simply use a drying clothes rack. In German, it's called Wäscheständer. They come in usually different shapes and sizes. We have the long one, unfolding one. There's also, let's say, like ones that go upwards, and you just hang your clothes on it and you let nature, like, again, air do its thing.
Yeah, so a clothes rack, a drying clothes rack, you can find it in any furniture store usually. So the most popular ones are IKEA, Bauhaus, or any sort of home improvement shop. And the prices can also range from 15 euros, and you can pay up to 60 or more euros for a drying clothes rack. I think, I don't know, maybe it's sturdier, more bells and whistles, I don't know.
I mean, it should be it should be sturdy. How about that?
Yeah, we bought one recently. We paid around 25 euros, 30 euros for it in the Bauhaus. You can also buy it online on Amazon, for example. They also have an array of dry clothes racks. And yeah, you definitely need to buy one because it is not included when you move into an apartment. This is an additional thing you will need to purchase. How it works is that you have your Wäscheständer usually tucked away when you don't have to dry clothes. And after you finish your cycle of washing, you just hang your clothes there. And you tend to put this in the middle of where there's space usually. That could be in the middle of the living room, in a bedroom. Usually bathrooms tend to be quite small, so they don't really fit. But we've also seen Wäscheständers that go on top of the bathtub, for example, and then you just put it on top of that. So there's multiple ways of doing it.
Yeah, the most important thing is that when you do air dry your clothes, to ventilate that room excessively, because obviously there is more humidity being produced, and humidity is in excess is not good for your walls. So that's very important.
Yes, because it can produce mold. So because you're drying the clothes inside, it's super important that you open the windows, not kippen, not just halfway, but fully open them for a few minutes, multiple times a day if you can. So, you let that air and humidity leave the apartment. So depending on the country that you come from, this might not be a big deal. Okay, yeah, I air dry my clothes. I do that at home as well. I used to do that in Guatemala as well. Difference is we would air dry them outside, like we would have a patio and there you hang the clothes, and we would have direct sunlight on the clothes, so it would be super fast. You hang them in the early morning and they're dry by the evening, unless it rains, but usually it doesn't. So it would be super fast. However, in Germany, it's a little bit slower than that.
So actually, we do also have clothes rack outside. Typically, again, if you have a house or a garden, typically in gardens, there are these fixed installed, we call them Wäschespinne. Oh. So it's like a laundry spider, clothes spider, yeah. And they're fixed installed and they just look like
umbrellas
the other way around, exactly. However, since it's so unpredicted when it rains, that is not always the best choice. Whereas if you dry your clothes inside an apartment or a house, of course, there is, again, less air exchange. So depending on the type of clothes, it can take a little longer than what you might be used to in Guatemala.
What is a little longer?
A little longer. So actually here we had a few smoothlers come up to us or ask us questions like, how do you dry your clothes in Germany? And I'm like, well, you just hang them and you wait till they dry. But that is actually the issue, the waiting, because you're used to it taking a few hours, but here, especially in winter, if it's thicker clothes like a sweatshirt, it can take up to 2 days. And we've had specifically a smoother from Turkey who came here only with a backpack, so with very limited clothing. He didn't have 2 days to wait for his clothes to dry because he needed to wear them again. So that was a little bit of a shock to him. Yeah, and I understand with that context of information, yeah.
Yes, totally. So expect at least 2 days for the clothes to fully dry. In winter.
In summer, it's faster.
That's true.
Our goal is to create the most accurate and detailed videos to help you settle into life in Germany, sponsor-free.
If you like the work that we do and you would like to support this channel financially, you can buy us a virtual coffee at simplegermany.com/coffee.
Thank you very much for your support, and let's continue with the video.
Now, doing laundry or washing your clothes, it's really a very personal preference because everyone does it so different. And we would like to share how we do it just to give you an idea of how it works, but by no means are we saying this is
not how it works, like how we do it.
Yeah, how it do it. But by no means I wanted to say, are we saying this is the way that you should wash clothes? We just want to show you how we do it. Maybe it serves as inspiration or not. We'll see. So how do we wash our clothes?
First,
Step 1.
We divide our clothes in 5 different buckets. Dark clothes, colored clothes, light colored, so particularly white clothes, sports like athletic clothes, and the linen and towels.
When the basket is full, then it's time to do laundry, and we use softener for all of them except for the sports clothes because that's super important. And why do we obsessively separate by color? And that's because we use a different detergent for the different colored clothing. For example, for the dark clothes, we use the dark colored detergent plus softener. For the colors, we use the colors detergent plus softener. For the white, we use the white detergent plus softener. And for the sports, we use the sports detergent, no softener. And for the bed linen and towels, we use the same color detergent because we have colored bed and linen and towels with softener.
We prefer liquid soap over powder. This is really just a preference. Also, the brand we use is just a preference. This is by means no advertisement. And I didn't even know if that's the best or not. It's just what we came to use and we never changed it. And we've never had issues with our laundry, so there was no reason to change it. Now, for all the clothes, except for the sports clothes and the bed linen and towels, we do use the same cycle, and that is the eco cycle. Now, if you have an older machine, you might not have an eco cycle. We didn't have one before, and there we used the pflegeleicht cycle, which is kind of like the gentle, that would be the word, the gentle cycle. And currently the eco cycle for us is set at 40 degrees. We used to do the gentle cycle at 30 degrees, so that highly depends what your machine offers.
Yes, and the eco cycle takes 3 hours to complete, so that's pretty long. And usually we put okay, I have to be honest, Yvonne puts the washing in the laundry, and then you set a timer, right, for like around 3 hours, so we don't forget that we did laundry. But we hang the clothes together, so I also contribute in the household in that way.
But also newer machines, or depending on the machine that you have, they also have timer functions so that you can time the laundry when it's supposed to be ready. That's very convenient, of course, when you want to do it during the day and just hang it when you come back from work or something like that. So that is really highly independent.
Yes, and it depends, like you said, on the machine and how modern it is for sure.
Of course, there's also faster cycles. However, the faster cycles typically are also more expensive in terms of electricity, because the eco cycle takes that long because it warms up the water slower, and hence it uses less electricity, but therefore the cycle takes longer. And as always with any machinery, also for the dishwasher, the fuller the machine, the more efficient it is, not just in the cleaning, but also in the electricity usage.
Consumption, yeah.
For the sports clothes, we use ours is called outdoor cycle. It could be sports, athletics, outdoor, whatever is for the clothes that don't take softener and that are this synthetic material typically. And that cycle is a lot faster because it's a lot gentler. It's only at 30 degrees and it typically takes like 1 hour and a half, 1 hour 45 minutes. And for the towels and bed linen, the other way around, we use the cotton cycle, which is a stronger cycle. We also increase the temperature to 65 or 70, depending what your machine has, because that is the temperature needed to kill any bacteria that is more likely to appear in linen and towels. And that takes actually 3.5 hours and is the strongest and most expensive cycle of them all. Now, super important, I think this is a worldwide thing, but I'll just say it anyways for it to be complete. When the cycle is done and you take your clothes out, leave the door as well as the compartment where you put the soap open so the extra liquid or humidity in there has a chance to dry. Otherwise, there are high chances of the washing machine to, later on, your clothes to smell mildewy, develop mold, and we don't want that. Talking about trays, they can be in different areas depending on your washing machine, but in Germany they're typically all marked the same way. So typically on the left you have something that is marked with one line, which stands for 1, and that is for the pre-wash. I've never used that in my life. I've never pre-washed anything. Then in the middle you usually have a smaller compartment that typically has like a flowery kind of thing, and that is for the softener. And then on the right, typically you have the compartment that looks exactly like the one on the left, but it has the 2 lines. So second wash, which is the main wash, which there is where we put our main detergent and of course the softener in the little flowery middle compartment.
So after the washing cycle is done, then also I contribute to the household, and then we take the clothes out and then we hang them on our rack, and then we wait, depends, summer, winter, 1 to 2 days. Then we fold them, we put them away, and then we rinse and repeat every time we have to do it. Pun intended. If you want to know more unique things that you may find in German apartments, then make sure to watch our video here on the left. Until next time, tschüss! Gesundheit.
Synthetic sports clothes. So we are very, so at the moment, currently,
nowadays, step 1.
Yeah, come on.
Okay.